What is going on? Welcome to another Beyond Plug and Play video. I am your host, Logic Motion, and today is February 6th, and we have some gaming news, baby. Okay, so let's look at our topics for today. We have EA CEO claims that Dragon Age failed due to no live service elements. We also have the UK government rejects calls to prohibit disabling of live service games. And last but not least, we have Steam warns players about early access games that have not been updated in a long time. Let's get into it. Okay, so EA CEO Andrew Wilson has claimed that BioWare's action role-playing game Dragon Age the Veilguard failed due to its lack of live service elements. EA's got to be the only company that can fail upwards. It's so crazy to me how you can be so out of touch when there's games like Spider-Man, there's games like The Last of Us, there's games like, what's another single-player game, Horizon, that do so well in their single-player games. You don't need a live service game in order for a game to be successful. It just seems so out of touch. There's so many. Hogwarts is another game, super successful single player game. You have to make a good single player game. You can't just put out slop. And I'm not saying Dragon Age is 100% slop, but from what I've seen, the story could be better. The dialogue could be better. Things could be better. BioWare isn't the same BioWare that gave us Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3. Say what you want about 3. It is good. It does have its moments. Obviously not as good as 2, but it has its moments. But EA here just seems so out of touch. It just seems like the only way they think that a game can be successful is if it has live service elements or some form of always online, always trying to monetize the consumer. Sometimes you just need to release a good single player game. Not every game needs to have their hands in the live service bowl. Not every game needs to try to monetize you at every single given moment. Sometimes it's okay to just sell a good game. And while Dragon Age was a single player game, there were things that were wrong with it that probably pushed a good majority of people away from the game. I just hate the idea of every company chasing the Fortnite model. Like it seems like every company wants a game that's infinitely profitable, infinitely scales, infinitely evolving, infinitely changing, like Fortnite, to where they can perpetually make money off of it. It's not feasible for every company. There's only so many gamers in the world, right? Ultimately, this whole thing writes up as the EA CEO just being so out of touch with modern gamers. Not every gamer wants a single player game. And I don't know how you could sit here and see the success of Elden Ring, see the success of Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon, Hogwarts, and be like, well, we got to make more live service games. That's the only reason why we're failing. Make good games and get rewarded. Okay, so let's get into our second story of the day, which is the UK government rejects calls to prohibit disabling of live service games. There are no plans to amend UK consumer law on disabling video games. The UK government has rejected calls to straighten the regulations protecting consumers against the closure of live service games. Okay. If you don't know, some time ago, there was an online petition that garnered up over 10,000 signatures. And basically, I don't know how the UK government works specifically, just because I stay in the States, but if it gets a certain amount of signatures, then the UK government has to at least respond to it. Unfortunately, in this case, even though they responded, they rejected it. So they don't see it as something the companies need to uphold or find a way for players to play even after it's been shut down. I personally think it's an unfortunate way for it to end up, just because there's so many online games that are rendered useless now because they're built from the ground up to be an online game, and then boom, they shut down, right? You have something like Ubisoft's The Crew that everyone bought into, and then boom, they just shut it down. End of life. That's it. You can't play the game anymore, regardless if you bought it or not. You have something like Rumbleverse, was another game, online only. It gets shut down. You have another game, Multiverses, that gets shut down. That one was recent, which is crazy. It's just so many of these online games shutting down and people buying in. They have founders editions for these games, $100 editions for these games. Like it's insane. And they just get shut down. So that's why I think it's unfortunate that it was rejected. I hope there's another way for them to take a look at this and it's not just dead in the water. But I would love for some games to be reinstated or come back or not just be killed off, especially if there's potential there, like something like The Crew. It's still a fun game, right? It's not the worst thing ever. It would be nice if we could play it offline. You don't have to do anything crazy. So if you read further in the article, they do say we have no plans to amend existing consumer law on digital obsolescence, but we will monitor this issue and consider the relevant work of the Competition and Market Authority, CMA, on consumer rights and consumer detriment. So when you read that, it reads as if like they don't plan on doing anything right now, but they're going to monitor it and we'll see what happens of it, right? But there's going to be more games in the future that get their online shut down and we're no longer able to play like at all, just because they're not making enough money, or they see it as just, we don't want to support this game anymore. We've supported it long enough, and it will shut down and people will be upset and we'll be going through this again. I just hope one day that companies are at least forced to make it offline, like give us an offline only version, or give us like some type of open source to where we can make our own lobbies, something, give us something, like make these companies do something. Don't just, okay, well, you pay $60 or whatever, how much money for this game, and then you can never play it again because you can never get online again. It just sucks. Like it's just not good. It happened with The Crew. It happened with Rumbleverse. It happened with Multiverse. It's not fun. It keeps happening. It's not great. I can't imagine like that happening to me. Like I'd just be upset. I didn't buy into multiverses, but like could you imagine you buy The Crew and that happens? You buy Multiverse, the $100 edition, Founders Edition, and that, like, I'd go crazy. Anyway, I hope something in the future could happen, because I feel like if something happens in the UK, then maybe like the US will adopt it, maybe other countries will adopt it, and then maybe it'll just be widespread across, So that's just wishful thinking. All right, so let's get into our last story of the day, which is Steam now warns about early access that have not been updated in months. So basically, if it's an early access game and let's say it hasn't been updated in 10 months, it hasn't been updated in 12 months, it'll let you know. It'll say, hey, no, the last update made by this developer was over 14 months ago, like the example in the picture here. So I think this is a good change. I think this is great. There's so many times where you have a really cool early access game. You're like, okay, let me see what the community's saying. Community's saying like it's good, but it hasn't been updated in a while. But you don't really know like how long, right? If you go to the news section, yeah, but that's not in your direct eye view. Now it's going to be on the Steam store page. You're going to be able to clearly see it when you're about to check out for the game. So like, let's say this is just an example. Let's say there's a game and it's like, okay, well, this game looks cool. Oh, it's in early access. It hasn't been updated for like 18 months. Okay, I'm gonna wait, right? Because that's a long time to go without an update. Is it abandonware? Or like, are people still here? Did they just take the money and run? So it just gives those, it basically just gives you a heads up, like, hey, like I need to check to see what's happening with this game. And most people already know, like, it's an early access game. There is always risk with early access game. There was a game I bought some time ago and it never became anything, but it was like the coolest concept ever. I gotta find the name. Here it is. The name of this game was called Grav. And I was in college at the time. I bought this game and it just never became anything. It never became anything. They never did anything with it. Even if you go to this page right now, it says the last update made by these developers was 7 years ago. If that doesn't stray someone away, I don't know what will. But I feel like this is a good feature for people that are kind of, they're unsure if they want to pull the trigger on the early access game. It will either give them confidence or it will give them, basically will make them cautious. So I'm hoping, this is just good. This is just a good change overall. I'm excited for it. It's going to be good for developers that are honest, that release updates. I could see how it could be abused, maybe in developers like, oh, I'm going to release like a hotfix or whatever, boop, 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 boop. So it could kind of look like the game's like being updated, but it's not actually getting like content. There's double-edged sword there, but I feel like overall this is a good push in the right direction. You can kind of tell, like, customers know up front, like what they're getting into. Like you already know, right? It's an early access game, but it's like, oh, this hasn't been updated in like 3 years, right? I'm definitely not going to buy it. So I like this. This is a good change. Anyway, that's all the gaming news I have for today. If you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you. Very nice, very kind, simply the best. Let me know what you think about EA's claims, the CEO, Andrew Wilson's claims on Dragon Age not having live service content. That's why it failed. That's why it flopped. No live service content, not the material of the game, not the overall goodness of the game, the content of the game, just live service content. It was missing that, and that's why it bombed, and that's why it failed. Let me know what you think about the UK government rejecting the call of the gamers to allow for these online games that get shut down to be available in some capacity. Something, give us something. And let me know what you think about Steam's new update on early access. Just letting players know that this game hasn't been updated in a while, or this game was updated last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, just to let you know that this game is lively. Let me know what you think down below. I would love to know. With that being said, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. You're the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care.